Hello, hello, hello. What's good? How's everybody doing out there? Welcome back, Westworld Riders, YouTubers, and hosts. It's your boy One back again. And man, after a second look, there's just some things I'm all in on, and just figured I'd come on here and talk about it. What's good, Dragon? See you out there. Can definitely gonna fire up a BS one later, and yeah, we'll try to get all the boys on and have a good time tonight. But right now, we are definitely ready to talk about some Westworld. Just got some things on my mind, wondering what you guys think about it. We might as well just dive right on into it. I am all in. I 100% believe that Sirach is not real. He is just a projection of Rehoboam. There is not a doubt in my mind. And the thing that 100% sealed it for me was when he called Haloris and told him to meet him there. And he's like excited to meet all his new employees when he's taking over Delos. When he lands, they filmed it just perfect. So on the first time when you're looking through it, you don't really even think about it. But when you go back, like something was just bugging me about it. And when I went back and looked at it the second time, Sirach gets off that plane by himself. And then all his guards come in and follow behind him. Nobody else was on that plane. He was on it all by himself. And the only one who interacted with him was Haloris. All those members, he said specifically he was excited to get there and meet all his new employees. Then he's got like half the board out there all lined up like his main employees, and he just walks right by them and ignores them. And better yet, not one of them react to him. So when Haloris meets him and they start walking, and all his bodyguards or his men or whatever start walking behind him, it's like Haloris just turned and walked away. All the board members are still just standing there looking straight ahead. They never even reacted to Sirach, which lets me know 100% they couldn't see him. The only people that can see Sirach without the glasses is Host. Host don't need the glasses to see Hosts don't need the glasses to see Sirach, but humans do. And that's why all those human board members basically just sat there and kept looking forward and that's why Sirach didn't stop to meet him. They couldn't see him. So I don't understand why he's saying he's interested to meet all his board members, unless that was just his little snarky way of saying that he wants to find out who this host is. And when he told Haloris that he was on his way there, he's like, I'll be there in an hour. And he said right before that, they were talking about Dolores, and he says, he's like, I'm closing in on Dolores as we speak. And then he said, I'll be there in an hour. So was he talking about he knew that Dolores had split herself and that one of them must be at Delos because it was such a prominent position? So he already knew that was coming. And I think when he said he was closing in on her, it was Hale who he was talking about closing in on her. So that's just some stuff I was thinking about. There's not a doubt in my mind. Sirach is not real. He is just a projection of Rehoboam. And like we were talking about on the last stream, they showed him walking him down and then bashing Peter Dempsey Sr. or Peter Dempsey's brains out. Like he killed him right there and then made it look like a crash. But I think that was just for the show effect. Basically, Rehoboam as a machine told the other machine airplane to crash, and he did crash it. So that was just the show letting us know that Rehoboam did bring him down, but I do believe Peter Dempsey really died in a plane crash. He didn't get his head bashed in by Sirach. Like Sirach just brought down that plane because Sirach is basically Rehoboam. And I believe that his brother is Solomon. I was always thinking that Sirach might be real and that he just interjected his brother Jean-Mi into Rehoboam, and that's what that was. And it still could be. I mean, there's a little bit of that in there, but I think his brother was Solomon, and basically it's the two computers interacting with each other. And maybe, and I still don't understand why Jean-Mi had a bloody nose at the beginning of the last one, at the beginning of episode 5. That just doesn't make sense why he would do that, unless they're showing that like Rehoboam's just the bigger, better one, and basically just bloodied the nose of Solomon, like he's obsolete now, and Rehoboam's the new, better deal. But yeah, I don't know what they're trying to say with that yet. But I'm thinking 100% that the brother was Solomon and Sirach is Rehoboam, and I think Andy might have had it right. I don't know if either one of them were ever real. And like when Peter Dempsey was like, "You stole $200 million," and the machine's like, "No, we stole $5 million last year." That was basically Peter Dempsey talking out loud, and then Rehoboam telling them, just like he tells the results, everything, that no, we stole $5 million, but it wasn't really a Sirach human being sitting there telling them that what we did. It was the actual machine interacting just like it does with everything else. So yeah, I'm 100 thing. Yeah, Dragon, I know the whole MIB thing's crazy. We're definitely going to be talking about that too, but 100% I'm thinking that Sirach is not real. It's just a projection of Rehoboam, and all these things are for like cinematic effect. But if you put it in, a machine could be doing all the same things that he's doing, and I believe that's exactly what it is. And like I said, that just solidified it. When he landed at Delos and got out of that plane all by himself, and none of those board members reacted, and he said he's there to meet his new board members. I mean, yeah, they just locked it up tight. They're telling us, yes, Sirach is 100% just a projection. There is no real human being Sirach. So yeah, I just think that's wild, and nobody's talking about that. I'm like, he got off by himself. None of those board members reacted to him. They didn't look back. I mean, it was just, yeah, 100%. There's no way. What I write here, Sirach can make himself visible to host like he does with Maeve. That's why Charlotte could see him outside. If you notice, Sirach got off his plane alone, board members. So, yep, everything we just talked about. Some people will say, well, Hale wore glasses the first time that he met Sirach, but Sirach had Martell put those glasses on Charlotte because at that point he thought Hale was still Hale. So he thought that she would need those glasses to see him, not realizing that she's a host and would be able to see him without it. So if anybody says that would be the reason why. So Sirach still thought that she was a real human at that point. Are Sirach's men's all hosts? I mean, some of them, I guess, could be human because they seem to die. But then again, are the board members all hosts? I mean, we know they have host-making machines down in the basement. Is that so the board members can just gallivant and go party and they can just leave their hosts there as their robot representatives? I was just wondering, I was like, are all the board members and Sirach's men hosts? Because they can be acting pretty hosty. But Charlotte put that gas down, which makes me think that they're human. And so at least I think some of them are human. But I think that black lady, I think she's a host for sure. The black lady board member, I really think she's a host. But the rest of them could be human, and maybe that's why the gas worked, unless there's some kind of gas that works on hosts too. Sirach is a computer program asshole. Got it. Yeah, he 100% is a computer. And that's just it. He's a computer program. He has no feelings. He has absolutely no feelings. So that's what makes me think that he's 100%. Yeah, there's just too many tie-ins that Sirach is not human, and I don't believe he ever was. John Mee is Solomon, and Sirach is Rehoboam, and that is the only thing that gets me is what the hell is that? What were they telling us with that bloody nose, except for maybe that Rehoboam's just the better machine, just knocked him out, and now he's one up. I just really don't know what they're telling us with that. I think I was right in that very first review, right after this season 1 episode. I think that there's absolutely going to be 2 Charlottes made, at least 2 Charlotte Hales made. I don't know if it's one because one's all burnt up now and she needs a new body, or if it was just like one of them's going to be like Sirach's going to build one and have one working for him, and then Dolores will rebuild one and have one working for her. But yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But something about the way she was talking in that first episode, I was like, I think there's going to be 2 Hales, so that'll be interesting. So at one point in time, was he real? They had to build the system. That's what I was thinking too. But they were talking, and I need to go back and watch the first couple episodes and everything. But they were talking, Peter Dempsey or Liam was talking about how his dad built the machine, and how his dad, the last time they checked the machine, they couldn't even realize what it was doing. Like Rehoboam had outrun it, and Rehoboam was doing his own thing, and they couldn't even tell all the projections that it was doing. And then they kind of dropped that. And now, remember last time we were talking like, oh, maybe Liam's just saying that because, his dad was lying or built it up or took the credit. But I don't think so. I think his dad really did build it. He didn't even realize, like, that's why they kept saying he was in the right place at the right time, because he didn't even realize what he had. He just merged two things together with all that inside info, merged two things together, and this computer took off running. And he got all the credit for it because he did build it, but he didn't realize that it was going to even go out past him what he even understood. And I think that's kind of what the whole situation is going to break down. So I think Peter Dempsey really did build Rehoboam, but it's just going so much faster, and it's outrunning him way faster and going better, and knows way more than he could ever know. It's outproducing and doing way better than he ever thought he would. So I think that's what's up with that. But yeah, I don't think Sirach was ever a real person. It just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And I think that's why they showed us, like, when he was looking out over that field, I was making a big deal of that's two different vans that he's looking out, and that's showing us that's two different things. So that's, the machine running different simulations and different things going on. It's two different scenes. It's very similar, but just a little bit different. And that's how you know that one of them's inside and one of them's not. That's what I think what's going on. But yeah. Sirach's not real. He's 100% just a machine and always has been. What kind of place or world is this where just because Sirach bought the company, he could lock it down and not let anybody leave? I mean, what kind of stopover are they running there? He went in there and told his men, he said, lock it down and don't let anybody leave. It's like, where are you at where that could happen? It's like, dude, this is America, isn't it? Where you're home of the free. I mean, yeah, okay, you can fire me, but you can't tell me I can't leave the building. So I thought that was a little bit weird. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, is this all just happening in a simulation? Is this all in Mirror World? Like I said, I believe a whole bunch of this is definitely happening inside the park, inside Mirror World and inside the park. And I think Mirror World could be Insight. Just a place where you go and put on glasses and it takes you right to Fantasyland. And I think some of it for like the very rich, they actually go to, I think Andy might have been right about that being the poor man's version. I just thought it was like, that's a new thing, what everybody is doing, but he could be right. That could just be the poor man's version. And then the rich people are still going into Westworld and actually doing the physical doing of the things. So I think that might be what's what. Could be, but I think that's I think by the end of this, in the next couple episodes, that's what they're going to be breaking down for us and letting us know. When Shaloris was stealing the Delos data, it said downloading to external device. What device and where is it? Is that just down to Dolores? Is the external device in the MIB? What external device and where is it? Is that where Bernard and Stubbs are? And why did Bernard and Stubbs? I just don't understand this whole thing. It's like, yeah, okay, so they put in the tracker inside the MIB. Why did they need to put in a tracker? I don't even understand that. Because Haloris is the one who called those guys in the first place. So why couldn't she just call him back and be like, yo, where is he, or where did you take him? I didn't get that. Like, what's the need for the tracker? And then for Stubbs and them to know exactly, Martin, right before he got killed or blew himself up, he told him basically that. He said that there's something you need to know, and showed him on the pad what and where it was. He's like, this is Insight and you need to check it out, and gave him all the information. So what was the need for the tracker? Oh, what's good? Once you, David Adams, I see you out there. I see you. But yeah, what was the whole reason for putting a tracker in them? There has to be something more that's going to be coming to that, because it doesn't make sense. Shaloris could have just called the guys that she called to take them away, and freaking Maloris already gave Bernard and Stubbs all the information about the place. So why the need for the tracker? They need to know the exact building or the exact cell he's in. I mean, I'm sure Bernard could have just hacked some system and found out where he's at. I don't know. And what is he keeps saying, Sirach keeps saying that he needs the key. He needs that key. That's the big thing he needs. For what info? I mean, I wonder what key he wants to unlock. Supposedly Dolores got rid of all the host information. We know Angela blew up all the backups in the Forge last year. So I don't understand what it is exactly he wants. unless there's like some kind of information that Dolores has maybe on the books that she read. Is this just a billionaire power play? He knows like the MIB was the one who was in charge of Delos, and he was in charge of Insight, and now he's got another, like, billionaires playing with each other, and now he's got another billionaire, and he wants all the info on him so he can just tweak with his mind and mess with him, because that's what billionaires would do in that situation. I mean, that's what if that's what happened? The man in black was beating Serac at every single turn and stayed in charge, and now Serac's finally got the MIB on his knees, and he's taking Insight over and taking over Delos, and he's going to be the big boy on campus instead of letting the MIB run the world. It's going to be him. That'd be kind of crazy. What do we got going on? The computer Serac took over, all powerful programming, making everything his and his own. That's what he's trying to do. Serac wants to rule it all. He wants to be the god. But Serac controls everything. No one is free. Of course they're not. Absolutely. Wasn't her phone sitting there on the keyboard before she started the download, and then she took it off after? That's a good point. So you think the external hard drive that she's downloading everything was just to her phone, and then from her phone she sent it? So maybe that's how Serac wasn't able to detect it. I mean, that would make sense. I like that. If the external hard drive was actually her phone, I like that. That could be, because I was thinking like external, like way out there, but that makes way more sense. I love that, JD. That down to her phone. I love that. Yeah. Did everybody hear that today they gave them the green light, and there is indeed going to be a Westworld season 4. So yeah, we got a season 4 to look forward to. So jump on board, people that aren't watching this season, and get ready, because it's supposed to be a 5-season story. It's supposed to be 5 seasons for their entire story. So if they get it done, that's what it'll be. And who knows, if it's super successful, they could go more. But yeah, supposedly this story is supposed to be 5 seasons. So it'd be really cool if they could get to all 5 and actually tell the story how it's supposed to be told. Because so far, I am all in. They got me 100% enthralled. Hell was Serac's pawn, absolutely. We'll get into that. Yep, definitely. And where we at? But yeah, I love that about the external hard drive being on Hale's phone, because that way she could send it without somebody else seeing, or she could still have that. And I don't know, did the phone get crisped up in the explosion, and then it's gone anyway? Might be. Might as well do 5. Yeah, I know, it has been sweet. I hope they do 5 seasons, man. Why wouldn't they? I mean, what out there is that much better that keeps going? I mean, all these other things with 8 seasons, 10 seasons. This one's definitely worth 5. How can it not be? If Dolores pricked the MIB and had to take him there, wouldn't she know where he's going? That's what we were just talking about. Did Dolores know that Serac would move him to a secret facility? Maybe that's why. Is the info Serac wants from the park the MIB's data? That's what we're talking about, the billionaire power play. That's funny. I was going through it in my mind that way. Or basically, is it a billionaire power play with Serac trying to grab the MIB, or does he just know that the Man in Black is one of the worst outliers of them all and needs to be transformed into Caleb? Because we're already I've been diehard with that this whole time. I think that's what they were letting us know, the way Dolores fell into Caleb's arms, the same way he fell into William's arms. I think they're letting you know right there that Caleb is the Man in Black. And I know this last episode, they really kind of skewed against that, because they made it look like the Man in Black's in the treatment center, and Dolores and them just sent out all that info, and the doctor just got it right then. So makes it look like the MIB and Caleb are existing in the same time and space. But I don't know. I'm still sticking to my guns. What's up? I see Spots. It's been a minute. Good to see you out there, brother. Good to see you. Yeah, I just think even though as much as they were trying to show us that, I'm sticking to it. I think the MIB is Caleb. A lot of people think Serac is Caleb, or Serac. Yeah, I think Caleb is the MIB, and I think Serac's brother is Solomon, and Serac is Rehoboam. I think that's what it's going to boil down to be at the end of this one. That is how they are trying to tell us. We just got to open our eyes and see it. What were the 3 additional assets that Sirach wanted copied and then transferred out before everything else got deleted? He said, I just have 3 additional assets that I'll need copied over and transferred, and then everything else can be deleted. I mean, is one Maeve? Is that the Maeve crew? And we were kind of going back and forth, and what I was a little confused about, because they only show the 4 machines. So I'm like, it can only be 4 hosts that were coming up. And we saw that she grabbed the ball out of Hector and squished it. That's 1. And we know that Mullorus was sitting there talking to Maeve. That was 2. But what I didn't realize is on that screen, it's actually 5 hosts that have been built, and one of them says messed up or whatever, and that's the one that's talking. So that's actually Maloris, and then there are going to be 4 more. So with that 4 more, we know 1 was Hector. We know 1 is Maeve. With that dude that actually put the numbers together, we know 1 is Clementine. And again, the 4th one we think is going to be, I can never remember her name, is Sayura. But basically the Japanese Clementine. And the only reason I guess that's so early is because she was in the premiere of Westworld 3 when they did the opening. It's like, why would she be there if she's not going to be in the season? That wouldn't make sense. And basically, I mean, we already know that Maeve's having problems dealing with the Yakuza, so she's probably going to need her to help infiltrate that and help her take down the Yakuza. So she doesn't get another samurai sword through the heart. Can't have that. Can't be having Maeve go down again. We don't want her living in that virtual hell forever. God, just Sirach's an evil bastard. Just threatening our girl like that. Like, you want Eden or hell, it's your choice. Don't fail me again. It's like, dude, come on. You can't do it. How are you going to hold her down like that? That was just ruthless. So yeah, I think the 3 additional assets, I mean, we know Hector's gone and Hale already took Maloris. So I guess the 3 additional assets are going to be Maeve, Clementine, and Sayura, or whatever the Asian Clementine or Asian Armistice was. I think it's going to be her. I think those are the 3 assets that he was talking about transferring over. I believe in that. And why does Sirach want to burn and erase all of the Delos property and legacy? I mean, that is just, the better part of $1 trillion worth of info, she said. Who would just torch that and not care? A computer with no feelings that wants to be the only one with all the information. That's who. He feels like if he has the information, that's all that needs to be known, and he's running the world, he's playing God, and he doesn't want anybody else to have that much information. That's exactly what he's against. Just like he said, when that guy came in, he's like, I have bad news. He's like, if it's news, it's bad. He wants to know everything. He wants to control everything, predict everything. He wants to be the end-all, be-all. So, yeah, that's why Sirach just wants to burn it all and doesn't want anybody else to be able to have that info. Sirach told Maeve her memory was perfect. Does that tell us basically that hosts always live in the present? Their minds are perfect and never forget and don't lose anything, whereas humans are imperfect and, even the best of times we lose fragments of it and don't remember it exactly. So is that basically telling us that a lot of what the MIB was telling us, that he's a human, and so a lot of the stuff that he was remembering from the past is imperfect? Like that whole scene with his dad could have been flawed, and it kind of seemed like it was. And the way it went blurry and they kept talking about it, I think the MIB is not exactly remembering things exactly the way they were from his youth. But yeah, Sirach makes you want Dolores to win. Absolutely, yeah. It's it's not looking good for her, man. Everybody's thinking like, oh, he's not so bad, or kind of Thanos. I can see a side of it, and everybody's like, yeah, not so much. I don't think so, because his true colors are coming out. He's a dictator. We've never seen anybody but Host use that laser to fix their skin, like when Shaloris was cutting herself and Dolores had to break out that laser and fix his skin. Do we remember in season 1 when the Man in Black broke into that bar and was using that laser to fix his skin? Do we remember that? Doesn't that tell us that the Man in Black is a host? I mean, I thought that back then and was tripping out about it, but then we just kind of wrote it off to like everybody can use that. That's just like a futuristic technology that everybody uses to heal himself. But we've never seen that be used on anybody but a host. So that's kind of telling me that the MIB was a host the whole time, and we called it way back then. That'd be so sweet. But yeah, the MIB is a host. Always has been. Always has been. That's why he used that. And when he's sitting there in the bar with Lawrence. So that was their little nod to that. And then they never talked about it, never touched on it, never brought that back. So yeah, it has to be. Has to be. Will Sirach just make another Doppelbot of Hale to run the board and the company like nothing ever happened? Like if he's the one that blew up that car, will he just make another Hale downstairs and then just act like, she's in charge and then be in control of her? And is that how different Hales come to be? Like I said, I think he might make a Hale and Dolores. I don't know if Dolores will make another one or not. Maybe. I don't know if she has any balls left. She might have to go to the park and get some. But yeah, I definitely think that Sirach is going to have another Hale made downstairs at Delos, Insight now, and kind of use that as his little pawn to run the place. And Crispy Charlotte is not going to be happy, and she's going to come back with a vengeance, and that's going to be a problem. Dram Bam, thank you, ma'am. What's up? Good to see you out there. Good to see you. Welcome. Just talking some crazy robot nonsense and tinfoil. But yeah, I think some of this is coming. I think this is what they're telling us. Sirach's not real, and yeah, there's just so many other things. The Man in Black's not real. He's a host too. Is Ford said in season 1, you can't play God without being acquainted with the devil. Does this help explain Sirach's actions and help put him in a bit of a better light? I mean, maybe he's not just an evil dictator. It's just, like I said, if you want to play God, you have to at least be able to know the other side of things. I don't know. That's pretty crazy. But I don't know if there is a way to pin Sirach in a good light at this point. But except for the fact that, I mean, in the end all, for a computer, he does seem to be trying to do what's best for mankind and what's best for humans. It may not always be, but from a computer aspect, if we're thinking that Sirach is not human and never has been, he's just a mind of a computer, he thinks he's doing what's best for mankind, and sometimes you just need some tough love. So he could just be looking at it like that. I mean, basically, the villain in every story thinks that they're doing right. They think they have the right of it. So, I mean, Sirach thinks he's doing right, and if he's a computer with no feelings or emotions, how would he know any different? So he really does think he's doing all right. Also in season 1, Peter Abernathy said, I shall have such vengeances upon you both. I forgot about that both part. The things I will do, what they are, yet I do not know, but they will be the terrors of the earth. Talking about Ford as well as Bernard. Does Dolores have something sinister planned for Bernard? That made me think the way he said something like that, and Daddy wasn't happy, and she pretty much knows what Daddy was thinking. How much did Daddy tell her, and how much of those feelings are going to be relayed through Dolores? And is Dolores not doing this for Bernard to help him out or keep her in check? Does Dolores have something evil and sinister planned for Bernard? That'd be kind of crazy. Or if Peter Abernathy is this fifth, if Peter Abernathy is that last fifth ball that we don't know about, that's probably out in what is it? Not Berlin. Is it Berlin? Well, yeah, there's some other ball out there, and if that's it, and it's Peter Abernathy, maybe he's the one that's going to have something in store for Bernard. That could turn out to be gnarly, especially if it gets as dark as this last episode, because this last episode was dark. I mean, it was crazy. Hanging themselves, people jumping off of buildings, blowing up little kids. This episode was dark. While on the phone with Sirach, he tells Hale that he's closing in on Dolores. We talked about that. We think that he was talking about the actual Hale that was there at the thing, at the Insight. If Dolores can recreate Bernard, couldn't Maeve recreate Hector? I mean, if Dolores can do that from memory and Maeve has all the power she has, why couldn't she recreate Hector? But then again, I guess even if she did make Hector, would it really be Hector? Because he wouldn't have had all the same experiences, and there's no way. I mean, I guess it'd be just like taking info from one hard drive and putting it into another hard drive. Couldn't she make a new Hector that she resurrected, remember, just like she did in this last episode with the Hector that was not remembering? She's like, if I can see you there, I can do this here, and gave him all his memories back. So couldn't she just make another Hector like Dolores did? And if not, why not? I don't get that. I just don't understand that. Why not? Why not? Oh man, what are you guys thinking out there? You guys loving season 3 so far? Are you liking it better than season 1 and 2? Which where's it rank in the seasons for you guys? I'm loving season 3. I think it's pretty much my favorite season so far. I'm absolutely loving season 3. If Sizemore can program the host not to see him, could he recreate Maeve's daughter? I mean, he seems to be pretty decent. I know he's just a program, but if nothing else, I mean, it's not really Maeve's daughter. It's all just memories anyway. I mean, inside that simulation, couldn't Lee Sizemore just recreate Maeve's daughter in that simulation, and then Maeve could just be happy living in that simulation? I don't know if Serac would have let that happen, but that could have been a nice little nod for Sizemore to do. Is if he remembers Maeve's daughter, he's the one who created her in the first place. He should have just recreated her in the simulation and at least given Maeve that little piece of it back. That'd be kind of a cool little twist. I don't know why he didn't do that. Especially if he's going to act like he's in love with her, which he is. So why not do that for her? It'd be like the ultimate gift. In season 1, Ford tells Bernard he mustn't make the same mistake as Arnold. The hosts are not real. Bernard says, of course not. Why would I? And then he kind of looks at him weird. How did Ford know way back then that just being a Doppelbot and in the skin of a real human could and would change you to be more like that person? I mean, I guess he's going to know the most about these hosts. He's the one that created them. But I wonder how he figured out even way back then that even though it has nothing to do with it, their memories aren't there, nothing. This is just a robot being made. Just the fact of you being in their skin changes you and makes you more like them, makes you kind of feel like more you're living their life for real, and more of their personality gets injected into you, that's a whole deeper conversation because that's kind of crazy. So yeah, Ford knew way back in season 1 that could happen. He was afraid Arnold or Bernard was going to start thinking about like Arnold and that the hosts were alive and start messing things up. So, which is exactly what happened. So that's wild that Ford was able to call that way back then. When Ford sees Hale, she's looking at her reflection. Like the first time in season 1, when Ford looked at Hale, she was looking herself at her in her reflection. And he says, I wasn't aware that those that those with your level of insight needed any more reflection. So did Ford know? I think Ford knew way back then that what Hale was, and like that she was a spy, and basically, if she wasn't already, that he was the one that gave Bernard the idea to turn her into a host for Dolores, basically to get out of the park. I'm just saying, Ford had this stuff so dialed 300 steps in front of everybody else. Like way back in season 1, he saw all this coming to fruition and had his plan set. So yeah, he wasn't just a god inside the park. He was godlike basically everywhere. Being able to see that far and be able to pull that off, that was insanity. It's like Ford's the man. I really hope we get to see a Ford sighting this year. At least one little cameo. Just give it to us. That would be amazing. When Ford told that sad story of his Greyhound catching and killing that cat, I think that analogy was actually for creating consciousness in the host. Like when he had done it, he was confused and didn't know what to do with it. Like he'd been striving his whole life to make the host alive. And then all of a sudden they're alive, and now he's like, oh shit, like now what do I do? So I think that's analogy about the Ford catching the rabbit was exactly like, or the Greyhound catching the rabbit was Ford catching the host consciousness. And I think it scared him to death, and he did not know what to do with it. When Maeve went to talk to Dolores, Hector says she's dangerous, and Maeve says she can't hurt us in here. I'm in control. Yet Dolores was saying that Maeve can control them all. So can Maeve control Dolores outside of simulations and like out in the real world? Because I didn't think that could happen. I know she didn't try to. She made Dolores have the choice last time, but they're making it sound like she can actually control Dolores. So if that's the case, why worry about anything? Just walk up to Dolores, shut her down, and take her. Do whatever you need to do. It didn't seem like anything would be a problem at that point. But maybe they just don't want Maeve to be that OP, but that doesn't make sense. If she can shut her down and control all machines, there's no fight. It's already over. What's Dolores going to do? But we already see that, like in this, I don't know if it's going to be this episode or the next one, probably this next one. But it sounds like, or it looks like Maeve's going to have that samurai sword and be chopping a little Dolores Armitage off. She looks like she's crawling around with no arm. It's like, looks like Maeve's going to put that samurai sword to work. So I can definitely see that happening. And we have, I 100% believe that Charlotte's ex, Jake, is a host. That's everything about him is such a hosty situation. I mean, from the artwork with the circles on the wall to her walking Nathan to Jake's house and them doing spray paint graffiti of inside on the walls. It's, yeah, everything about that is either inside Mirror World or part of it's probably both. Some of it's inside Mirror World, and Jake is just a host. He is not real at all. There is nothing real about Jake. He is as hosty gets. Like, even when Charlotte's telling him something, you guys notice, like, if you really look, like, before he turned, like, they'll be talking and she'll walk away and he'll just be sitting there staring just blankly, just all dumb, like a host just sitting there. And then he kicks back in and starts talking. Excuse me, but yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind that Jake is 100% a host, which is interesting. And obviously, if Jake is a host, then we know that Nathan's not real. And again, I don't know if Rehoboam just inserted Nathan in there, and that's why the first time Shaloris went home and they started making out with Jake, and he's like, what? And she had no idea. I think that's because Rehoboam had just inserted that in. And then, so in that case, maybe he's the one that made that fake, maybe that whole Charlotte, you are my sunshine, making that video. Rehoboam could have just made all that fake. And that's why there's two different versions of it, because that never happened. Charlotte, the real Charlotte Hale never did that. That was just all 100% Sirach playing his game. Or it might have been Dolores inside Rehoboam that inserted it for to help control Shaloris. But I don't think so. I don't think it ever happened. I think it was just inserted. And we know, I never thought that Nathan was real, because something about those pillows when he was first laying there, and those pillows with the arrows on them. But I'm like, oh, they're arrows, not the line in the circle. But then if you see at the beginning of the show, Rehoboam, when it's going around in circles, it starts with arrows and then turns into lines and circles. So that just 100% tells me that, yeah, Nathan is injected from Rehoboam. He was never real in the first place. So, yeah, I think we're going to be fine. They're going to be, I think they're going to diverge and let us know all that for sure before it's over. As Ford mustn't make the same mistake, and Ford said story. Ford Growth Reflection, we got it. I wasn't aware. Maeve in control, Maeve can control Dolores. The Maloris core was damaged, but was it really damaged? I mean, if you look, like, other than the looks, what was really damaged about it? I mean, Dolores seemed to be talking just fine with Maeve, or was the damaged part that a lot of the stuff that she was saying was damaged and incorrect? Or, I mean, he could have just been using that, and maybe he inputted some of that himself. Maybe Sirach overwrote some of that and put some, maybe that was some of Sirach talking and not just Maloris. That might not have been Maloris at all. That could have, maybe the thing was broken and it had just enough to use, and Sirach filled in the rest, and that was actually Sirach talking to me. Wow, what do you guys think about that? Was that Sirach talking through Dolores to Maeve, trying to help her out or get her to do what he wanted, to get it where it needed to go? Because Sirach would be the one ruthless enough to, no, that can't be. That was just too perfect a timing, the way Dolores just fell out like that, like Hale grabbed Dolores and her falling out right when Maeve wanted to come back and kill. Oh, Maeve was hyped. Just killed her lover that she just got back. She was not happy, not at all. But why does Maeve even need help? Like, she is so OP'd and so overpowered and can just shut down. I mean, it's always good to have help. I mean, even, yeah, like, I guess even Superman wanted friends. But yeah, it's just weird that, like, Maeve wants help. Maybe she just wanted her lover back. Like, the first thing she did bring back was Hector, so maybe that is it. She just wanted some lovins. Can't be mad at her for that. Who wouldn't want a Hector back in their life? Charlotte, I think I was wondering last episode why Charlotte took that bracelet off. Now I see, looking back, that I definitely think she took that bracelet off to set that gas bomb that she let off. She took that off, put it in there, set off the gas bomb because she knew what was coming. And that's how that all went down. Because I was like, why did they go show that so much? But that's the reason. She had to set that off, letting us know that she is still one step ahead of Sirach. He said, I just sent the last one of the files we needed. Where did she send those files? But we already figured out that, well, even though if Hale downloaded those and the external thing was on her phone, she still said she sent them off. So where'd she send those files off to? Did she send them off to Dolores? Did she send them off to Stubbs and Bernard? Like, she just looked at Sirach and she's like, I've been here for weeks. I've bled this company dry, and I just sent off the last of the files that we needed. It's like, what were the last of the files? And like, I'm thinking it's to make host, but more importantly, where did she send those? Is that what she sent to Dolores, or does she have another plan up her sleeve? Is somebody else in charge? Where did she send those files off to? And speaking of, where is Dolores hiding out right now? Like, is she really with Caleb, or is this a different timeline and is she doing something else? Because there's at least two different timeline things happening. And like I said, I think one of them's happening in Mirror World and one of them's happening in Future World, and it's both still happening one way or another inside the park. What were they doing with 4 host making machines down there at Delos? I mean, I guess if that's your business and that's what you do, but 4 of them down there, that tells me that some of these people, or probably a lot of these people inside the company, are hosts. And that's what I was saying earlier. That's why I think that I think all those board members are hosts. So that gas must have been something that even takes out hosts as well as humans. But yeah, I think they might all been hosts. Maybe it's just something that takes out hosts. But I think the board members are hosts. I definitely think that black lady is a board member, is a host. And I also think that Sirach's men are hosts. I think they're all hosts, like robots doing what he thinks it is. So I think they're all hosts. That's why they could see him, because I think only hosts can see Sirach without glasses, humans. And that's how we're going to be able to tell who's host and who's human, is humans need the glasses to see Sirach and hosts don't. And the fact that Sirach was up there in that board meeting talking to everybody and nobody was wearing glasses, that kind of tells me that, except for the fact that as soon as, like, when she put that bullet through him and it flashed to wherever he was at, he took the glasses off. So maybe if he's wearing glasses, he can project it to people who are humans and they don't have to have the glasses on. I wonder if there's some deal that works like that. Because they kind of made a point of showing, like, when it flashed back to him, he took his glasses off and slammed them on the table. So maybe those glasses can project to anybody, whether you're wearing glasses or not. That could be the case of that. I like that. Look at me answering my own questions. So weird doing these by myself and just talking to the screen, but hey, we're getting it done. I'm going to get through it. This is just what we do. Melores told Bernard about the facility last episode. Hale's the one who called guards, and yeah, that's where we already talked about that, why the need for the tracker. So yeah, those were just some of the quick things on my mind. The biggest thing, 100%, is I am just all in. I don't think Sirach is or ever was human. I think Sirach is Rehoboam. His brother Jean-Mi was Solomon. And yeah, they were never human. They're computers. And I believe Peter Dempsey is 100% the one who did make them. And like I said, when they keeps talking about him being at the right place at the right time, that's basically just, he made something that even he didn't realize what he was creating. And that's why it took off without him. And not even he understood what it was doing. It was making predictions way beyond anything he could have ever thought of. So that's what's up with that. Yeah, then the machine just decided to kill Dempsey because Dempsey was getting greedy, trying to twist it and make it do things just to help him out. And the machine's like, no, we're here for the whole world. We're trying to make the world a better place, not just you. So yeah, they just took him out of the picture. And I want to know where Solomon is at. I mean, did they knock Solomon down? Did they take Solomon out? Like, did they deconstruct him, or is he somewhere where Rehoboam can actually talk and interact with them, like Bluetooth Wi-Fi style, and they're still actually talking? Yeah, that's interesting. And what was Sirach talking about at the beginning of the show? And he's like, I ensured that you would outlast us all. I mean, maybe there's a new one that we don't even know about. Is that what he's going to end up being talking to? Because yeah, they made it just look like he was talking to Sirach, or Sirach was just talking to Rehoboam, but I think he is Rehoboam, which means he has to be talking to something else. So maybe there's an even higher evolution, Solomon, Rehoboam, and maybe there's going to be a third one that's even more powerful that we don't even know about and haven't even seen yet. That'd be kind of wild. So yeah, those are just some of my crazy theories that I thought. He said I talk to myself all the time. Is that weird? Not at all. That's how we keep ourselves normal. Oh, some of the most interesting conversations are with yourself, right? But yeah, I just want to get those thoughts out there. It's just kind of some stuff I was thinking about. I'm 100% on board. That is just the way it is. Sirach is not real, never it was, and yeah, he is one and the same with Rehoboam. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Just wanted to get these out there and see if they're gonna let us know this next episode. We will have to stay tuned Sunday and find out how many answers they give us. They say this is gonna be the penultimate episode, and then they'll kind of just button up a few things in the actual last episode in season 8. But season 8, episode 8. But episode 7 should be the big boy. That should be the big bad boy. So we'll see what's up and see if that's a deal. Great to see you out there. I see spots. Hope to see you again soon. We'll be doing it Tuesday. We'll be doing our recap again on Tuesday at 6. And then usually come back on Friday or Saturday and do like a little second look at it and see what's what and see we come up with any more ideas or theories. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. Hopefully everybody has an absolutely fantastic rest of the weekend. And until we see you next Tuesday, you guys have a great weekend and we'll talk to you soon. Be easy. Bye.